Exact opposite problem. Folks think they don't need to vote in the general election because there's no point, because everyone they know is a Republican. And so we have the same dynamic going on the opposite side all over in other parts of the state, and making people realize that this is our big opportunity, because we may have our own little areas, but we all are part of Texas, and we have the opportunity to swing Texas this year. So it's a big opportunity. But I want to say a couple things, and then we'll get you all involved in the ways that we can make this office run, because pretty soon this place is going to be a second home for a lot of you. This is going to be a place where you bring your friends, you bring your neighbors, you'll go out of here and go talk to voters, launch events, all sorts of cool stuff. And this is not at all being run by the campaign. So this is the first thing I want to share with all of you. I want you to know personally, for me, how exciting this is. This whole concept of grassroots headquarters, volunteer run, volunteer owned, volunteer managed. This is really exciting. This has not been done at scale, not just on a campaign in Texas, but on any campaign in the country. So in all the presidential elections on the Democratic side, certainly in 2016, there were a lot of them who wanted to do this, and they were too scared and too traditional, and they didn't go for this. And Beto, when we started, he said, no, we're going to ask people if they want to set up offices for us. And maybe no one will be interested. And this was back in the very early days. He wasn't sure if people were going to go for it. And now we have over 50 grassroots offices across the entire state. Totally unprecedented. It's very exciting. It is thrilling. And so this has really never happened. So all of us get to be a part of this historic new way of campaigning. I think progressive campaigns, certainly in the future, grassroots campaigns will copy this, what we did here, and this is happening all over the place. I've just been on the road the last couple of weeks. On Thursday night, we opened up an office in Falfurrias. We opened up on Tuesday in Roma in Starr County. The week before that, we moved our McAllen office into a bigger office because it was too small, too many volunteers, so we had to move into a bigger space. Before that, we opened up an office in Harlingen. We opened up an office in Kingsville, and then further up the state, we opened up offices in Rockwall County outside of Dallas, which is the smallest county in the entire state by population. They had a big turnout. So this is happening in every single kind of place. The original idea when we first got together and talked about this whole concept of grassroots headquarters was that in every town and in every community here, there should be a Beto office. Like you look around your community, you should have your post office and your bank and your movie theater and your grocery store and your Beto office, right? And that should be every town, and that's going to make a big difference, right? Because so many people, they haven't heard from a Republican or Democratic campaign really since they can remember. We've heard the stories about different counties. Like, I don't know how many of you were following Beto's 254 county tour. Last county he went to, last statewide candidate to visit was LBJ. So this is a long time coming, and it's a big opportunity for us to be a part of this brand new way of campaigning. So I just want you to know how historic this is. The other thing is that I want you to know we're very close to the election now. This is the home stretch. Beto started a year and a half ago when he announced. And now we basically only have 2 months. Today is August, not October, August 25th. And in less than 2 months, on October 22nd, is the beginning of early voting. So people will start casting ballots in less than 2 months. And in just a couple of weeks, the whole campaign, right now we're so focused on figuring out who's voting for who and organizing. In a couple of weeks, we're going to focus and get the whole campaign, all 254 counties, focused on getting out the vote, which is the whole name of the game for us to win this thing. I don't know how many of you, obviously those of you here today feel a sense of excitement that we're part of something new and that we can win. But I understand the reasons for skepticism in other parts of the state in particular. I was talking to a woman from Lubbock, and she was talking about her going into Beto's first event that he did there a year and a half ago. And this story is really to illustrate sort of the two big parts of the campaign that I want you to think about from here on. Right? The campaign is basically two things. Part one is Beto going around in the Dodge Caravan talking to thousands of people, and part two is us. But to talk about what he's doing, He went to Lubbock the first time a year and a half ago, and a big, exciting Senate candidate. He showed up, and there were 23 people there to see him. And I think any normal candidate would have been dismayed and would have felt disappointed and discouraged, and maybe thought, oh, there's no votes for me here, I'm not going to come back. But he didn't do that. He stuck with his original idea to go visit everywhere repeatedly. He went back a second, a third, a fourth, and then a fifth time. And the fifth time was just a few weeks ago. And on the fifth time, he went from the original 23 people to 1,000 people.
Wow.
So that's what he's doing. That's exciting stuff. And so there's a lot of people who have not really heard from anyone, and they're hearing from him. And I've talked with so many people who have never voted before, who are Democrats who've never voted before, who are Republicans who voted for Ted Cruz in 2012 and say they're going to vote for Beto in 2016. So we have something. We have something going here. That's the sort of what he's doing. But then in the view of what we're doing, there's a couple things obviously we're doing. I'm sure all of you have seen to some extent the Beto's done. We've done really well with the fundraising, all from human beings, no PACs, no corporations, no special interests, all from human beings directly. The average donation is something like $25, $30, something like that. And last quarter we raised $10.4 million,
wow,
which is double the amount that Ted Cruz raised in the same amount of time,
wow,
which is very exciting. And we've outraised Ted Cruz, and that's like 5 quarters in a row. So it's been very successful. But here's the thing: the money, and all the folks here who've worked in politics, worked in campaigns, who's run for office before, you all know this. Money does not mean you're going to win. Raising a lot of money. Money, all it does is allows us to compete. So it gives us the chance to win. It's not going to guarantee us a victory. So we have that going for us. We also have a couple other things going for us. Even though Democrats haven't won a statewide election here for like 25 years, we have a bunch of things going for us. Texas is moving in the Democratic direction. Like over the elections, like 2012, Obama lost Texas by 16 points. Clinton lost this state by only 9. So it's going in the right direction. We see across the country, enthusiasm is on our side of the aisle. Whether it was in Virginia last year, or Alabama, or Ohio a couple weeks ago, or a bunch of special elections, bunch of primaries, turnout on our side is up. People are excited. I don't see any of these grassroots headquarters happening on the Republican side right now. I don't see people getting together. And that brings us to the last update I want to give you on the campaign side, which is the polling, exactly where we are. So I'm sure a lot of you probably follow the polls to some extent. We saw the one, I think, just yesterday with Beto down 4 points.